Hello, this is Ajan John. Today I am going to correct and improve the student's essay you can see printed below. Areas I have highlighted in bold either have mistakes or I am going to make some improvements. Let me say first of all, this is quite a good essay which should get around 6.5 to 7 in IELTS. With the improvements I'm going to suggest, this should bring it up to around 8. And let me say that the writer's main weaknesses are a little bit of repetition and not going into examples in sufficient detail. So I'll discuss that while we go through the essay. Let's begin with paragraph 1. Some people view history as a boring and unimportant subject, but history is part of our lives, L-I-V-E-S. Use plural here because of our. Next sentence, history, no the here. History has a big impact on us today, comma, the society and culture which we see around us is the result of hundreds of years of history. Now I've added some information there because the writer hasn't really gone into detail about why history has an impact on us today. And the next sentence, indeed you learn history from middle school to high school, is not quite relevant because the writer has been talking about why history is important and its impact on us in the modern world. However, it's okay to have that sentence in there, but it is not related to the impact of history. It is related to the question the writer has asked, which is, why do we learn about history? Indeed, you learn history from the middle school to high school, but why? There are a lot of reasons. Paragraph 2, one of the reasons is that history helps us to understand and not repeat mistakes from the past. I've changed that phrase there because the writer's phrase is not clear. For example, I remember that in school we studied the Second World War. Our teacher showed us the mistakes that France had made. He showed that a simple event can have big consequences on people and society, not consequences on history. The next sentence is repetition. It's really the same as the beginning of this paragraph. Make us understand and prevent our mistakes from the past. So it would be better here if the writer went into some detailed example. So I'm going to give an example here which can be written in instead of that last sentence. The writer was talking about how his teacher explained some mistakes France had made in the Second World War. So I'm going to make up a story about this. He explained that France was not prepared for the invasion from Germany and was hopelessly unprepared. The politicians leading the country at the time were far too naive in their understanding of Hitler, and this led to an enormous catastrophe. So that would be a good way of giving more detail about the teacher's example. It doesn't have to be true. I really have no idea whether that was true or not, but it seems reasonable, so it's okay to write it here. On with paragraph 3. Another reason why it is important is that learning history teaches you where you are from, not where are you from. What happened before you were on the earth. Knowing the history of your family, of your city, of your country is very important to some people. The next sentence, the writer says you can talk to your ancestors. Now, ancestors means these people are dead, so you cannot talk with them. And in the following sentence, the writer talks about talking with his grandmother, so it's clear he means older people in his family. So I'm going to change the sentence after some people. You can talk to your older relatives about their lives before your birth. I remember talking to my grandmother, who was fascinating because she told me many stories about the war, and it was exactly what I'd learned at school. After school, those last few words are not really relevant and we should delete them, so delete the words after school. But we can expand on the example here, especially to show how it supports the information given by the writer's school teacher. So, continuing, she told me how shocked she had been when Germany invaded France. People were scared and didn't know what to do. She said she was afraid of being taken prisoner by the Germans and spent much of the war hiding in her cellar. Again, this story doesn't have to be true, it just has to fit into the text. Now the final paragraph, the conclusion, again is too repetitious. Again, the writer says, show you the mistakes of the past and learn about who you came from, about where you came from. So this is this is a repeat of the previous paragraph. But in the conclusion, we don't need to add any further information. So the conclusion could be something like this. In conclusion, we should certainly not neglect studying history because it is vital in helping us to prevent our previous mistakes and understand where we came from. Actually, I've just said more or less the same as what the writer has said, but in a shorter way. Remember, when you start your conclusion, you should start with in conclusion or to sum up. So, not a bad essay. Remember that to get higher marks, you should give more detail in your examples. Examples are usually the best way to use more unusual vocabulary and grammar, and this will boost your grades. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.